Oh, hi again. Welcome back. So, my video recorded, thankfully, and I hope you enjoy the background picture with the little tiny house. So, I realized that I could pull the video back so that you'll be able to see the entire photo, and I just thought it was so cute. So, now that I know that that entire thing recorded well, we can continue. Okay, so, right, I was going to get into why they are called the Watchers. This incident happened to me back in 2021. Now, if you are not aware, we're just going to pause for a moment and I'm going to give you a little bit of background information. So, I had the experience of seeing the being of unknown origin in my room in 2015, okay? And it wasn't all the time. But as I explain in this little story here on page 63 of my book, and it actually explains, or it what is this? The story also includes, in this, I can't remember what I'm trying to say, like event where there was direct influence in my physical space via the radio, but from the unseen realm. Really, really, really cool. This is a really cool experience. Sorry, my armpit was itchy. um, okay, right. But when I saw the being in 2015, I had a few of these energetic text messages, which is like telepathy, but that's what it feels like, and you feel it in your stomach first. And I explained that when I talked about that experience of seeing that being in my room that night, about the energetic change in the room, the feeling about how all my arm hair stood up, like all the hairs all over my body, that feeling that we get. And this is an indication that I was in my physical vessel, you know? You wouldn't get the willies like this. At least I haven't in my experience, right? Anyway, the point of me bringing this up, I'm trying to focus because there's so much running through my mind, all these different things we need to talk about. I got a message, and this being had said to me, because I was trying to figure out what it was before it told me. And I heard them say, we were here before humans were ever a thought. Like, before we were ever thought of to be created, they were here before. That's exactly how he said it. Not in a rude way, but it was directly said like that for a purpose. Before human beings were ever a thought. Uh-huh. And again, this is an indication of a civilization or creation before us. Yeah. And so, again, this was another memorable time that this had happened where it also interacted with my physical space. And so it goes like this. The story is called Why Do You Think They Call Us the Watchers from 2021. Sometimes I write down the exact dates and sometimes I don't, unfortunately. It's just shitty recording of when things happen, whether I'm writing in a journal or blah, blah, blah. But anyway, this isn't a lucid dream, but a paranormal, supernatural experience I had here in my apartment. This is my old apartment when I wrote this book. I feel this story shows how it's possible for these dimensional beings to communicate with us. Again, remember, at the time when I wrote this book, I wasn't even sure about half of what I was experiencing even was. And I really didn't understand about how my lucid dreams had anything to do with aliens. That's what's the confusing part. But then there was all these other people saying it was aliens and they were experiencing the same thing as me or very similar, right? Especially the people in the blue suits. And I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, I've experienced this, but I know that I was lucid dreaming. I was spirit body traveling. When I was a little girl, I was aware that sometimes when I go to sleep, my spirit travels to other places. That's how I explained it. When I was a little girl, I used to call this spirit realm stuff, spirit world, spirit realm. Hmm. And I'm digressing all over the place. Um, okay, just let me finish. Sorry. I will remember it's because of the new age and how they're like aliens and all of that. And, I thought that, well, maybe I don't know, you know? And again, remember that I needed something physical. I had a bad experience here. So I was really hoping that there were people on another planet somewhere else that wouldn't be like human beings. That's a huge factor, not just for me, but for many. Okay. I'm going to try not to digress. One day, I was getting ready to take a shower and plucking my eyebrows in the mirror in the bathroom. I was in deep thought, and I was thinking about the Asura. The being, thinking about Asura, I thought that was its name. I just put in and I realized, no, I should correct myself. Because I thought that was its name. When it told me what it was, I thought the name that I was hearing was a name. And not of what it really was. I did never heard of something like this before. And I actually spelled it Azura, A-Z, because Asura, it sounds the same to me. I spelled it S-Z-A, A, Azurah. I have it written down in my sketchbook properly. But I had initially thought it was a name because I only got little hints, little bits and pieces. A lot of the time I was frustrated that all of these people were getting information from the aliens and they didn't tell me anything. You see what I'm saying? I felt a little bit left out or that I was doing something wrong. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Jeez. I was thinking about the Asura, the being I saw in my room of unknown origin in 2015. I was thinking about why this being came to me. What did he want? Because I just assumed that it was masculine. Again, we will get into what the Asura really is and all of that in a later time. Why me? Who were they? And what was I supposed to do with that experience? I can't tell you how many times I thought these questions. I'm sure that is the worst part of the whole thing. The unanswerable questions will drive you to the brink of insanity if you're not careful. I do understand that in time my questions will be answered, which they were, but still, it would upset me in the past because it's frustrating, right? And, again, I did go through a stage where I started to associate it with sinister, dark, nefarious, negative things. And trust me, you do really create your reality, and things started to change a little bit. Yeah. Um, and so then after thinking so much, I started to get a bit frustrated as I sat there in the sink, right? It's very difficult to not ever get answers to your questions and be forced to find answers for yourself on your own. But you learn better that way, almost like working out muscles, right? No one can work out for you. You don't want that. The thing about it is, yeah, I just heard it. You can give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man to fish, he eats for life. Now I eat for life. Now I don't need to rely on anybody. I don't need to contact the aliens. You know what I mean? It's not necessary. It never was. That's why I said about me channeling all that. That just flowed all out of me, that huge message. I'm like, wow. And even when it was done, I knew I was going to add more, and I actually did. Yeah. I had to go read back and edit my comment to leave the rest of it for that person later. I don't know if it's a male or a female that owns the channel. I think there's a group of them. I'm not sure. But anyway, I got all that. And so I was able to put all of that together then. Oh, I've digressed. Now, I don't get very many telepathic communications. Connection to source isn't the same as getting what I call an energetic text message that is heard and also felt. The next story in the Being of Unknown Origin My Room experience, I will explain how this works and how it feels. I also go into detail about on the video I made of this experience on my YouTube channel, which I already explained to you. So I heard inside my mind, why do you think they call us the Watchers? And you can feel it when this happens. You can. Almost like, bing, you've got mail, but it comes into your stomach and it rises up in feeling. I don't know why. But for some reason, that's your energy center. And so you feel it first, and it's almost like it translates, and then in feelings, and then into thoughts, and then you finally get out words. I don't know. That's how it feels like. It has to go through this process. I don't know. So I heard, why do you think they call us the Watchers? And I was a bit taken back for a moment, and then replied without really thinking about it. Because you watch us? I said out loud. And then I kind of ranted on because I realized I was correct. And I was in the bathroom at the time. The Muslims say the jinn hang out in the bathroom. I don't mean to make it all about them. I'm going to explain how meeting with the Muslims in my town, going to the masjid, I called them. I did. I wasn't doing any satanic symbolism. That's the phone. I called them and I explained what had happened. And I said, you know what? I really don't think it was an alien. And I know this is probably the craziest message you have ever heard. But it's taken me a lot of courage to call you. And I'd really like to at least speak to you all about it because I'm a bit scared. And I was scared at the time. I didn't know what it was. And if it was something. See, online, when I was talking about my experience, people were telling me. And at first I didn't know that they were directly Muslim. Didn't know that. They were saying that's a jinn. And I didn't really understand what that was. And at first I kind of just dismissed it as like religious fears, hysteria, like getting, it's, like just like the Christians, everything's a demon, you know what I mean? And so I dismissed it. But then after a while, and there were so many, and one time all at once, and then I felt for sure that that was something that I needed to pay attention to. I'm going to tell you the story of when I talked to them and explained these things and how they reacted and the things that I learned during this experience, okay? Later on. But I got a little bit upset at that point because, I was still thinking as an alien, like, what are you doing watching me all day? Like, I think beings on another planet, right? Like, what are you doing? Like, so it's like, what do you mean you watch me all day long? You have nothing better to do? Why don't you get a hobby, get a job, get a wife, go get a life? I said stuff like that out loud. Haha. And then I was a bit embarrassed. I was the only one there. Just me and my fur family that I could see. I realized how crazy it was what I had just done. But I felt better. At least there was that. So I thought, okay, I'll just plug in my radio and I'll get in the shower. I've had enough of this today. And I grabbed the plug to plug in the radio and I plugged it in. And it was quiet. I thought Salem must have turned down the volume when he climbs up onto the toilet. He uses my radio as a step. He does this, or he will turn the dial with his foot. So I go to fix that. And I literally went to turn down, like to bend over to fix the radio, and it started playing. Like, I plugged it in at the exact moment. This is good. The exact moment before the DJ or the track, and it paused. It was quiet. Like, I plugged it in. This was longer than it normally would be playing on the radio. How they had a blip like this, but get this. All of a sudden the radio starts playing. And it was quiet. Right. Blah, 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 blah. So I go to fix that, and this song starts playing. It was like I plugged the radio in at the exact right time in between songs or commercials or whatever it was. And you'll never guess which song it was. It started. Dun 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 dun. Do you know what it is? No? Hold on. What was this called? Why do they call us the Watchers? That song is I'll Be Watching You by the Police. I swear to you upon my life and soul this is true. And anybody else, I would have scared the shit out of them, honestly. I was stunned for a moment, and then I burst out laughing. No way, I thought, feeling very shocked, as I had just had this telepathic communication with this being about the Watchers, and that they are kind of like my prison guards. See, the Muslims say you have two. You have an angel and you have a jinn. And they write down your good and bad deeds. Yeah. And so I always kind of felt like they were like guardians or like prison guards in this prison planet. It was so funny. And then I said in my head, because they can hear you. They hear your thoughts and they see everything you do. Everything. Everything you've ever done. This is why they tell you, you're not ready for aliens. Which we're going to get to explain that. Why? They're telepathic. They hear everything you think and they can feel your feelings to these beings. Yeah. So if you're lusting after one of them, they're going to hear you. And some of them don't take that very lightly. It's very offensive to some beings to be sexually lustful, even in your mind. Or if you're thinking something rude, they're going to hear you. They work on different laws. Even, I'll give you an example. Even Charles Hall, when he talked, doesn't matter if it's real or not, it's about the story. When he told this story, I was like, I knew it. He was telling about on this base where he worked, there was this fella, I have no idea why there would be someone who would be considered as green in the military on this high level of facility, but okay, everyone has to start somewhere. Maybe it was somebody's nephew. That happens. So Charles Hall tells a story about these tall whites. Okay? He says, this fella was on the base. They told him, okay, there's a spot on the, what's this called? Platform, or if this is the Air Force, where do they park the planes and stuff? Like on tarmac, whatever. And on this, there was a painted square line, and it led to an underground facility. He was told to not cross that line. There's signs. He was told, we do not cross this line. They will come up here. The fella crossed the line. A being came up and killed him. They work differently on their laws. It's non-negotiable. There's nothing you can do about it. It's not that they're bad. They work on that. That there is a duel. You were told you cross a line. It works different, you guys. I just didn't realize what it was. I didn't realize that these two things were connected. Even, I'm digressing again. Okay, just let me finish and then we're gonna. Okay. And then, right, so because they can hear you either way, out loud when you speak like this or in your head. I said, you guys are something else. If that was anyone else but me, that would have scared the shit out of them. But I guess you do know me well because I got a book that's called They Know Us Better Than We Know Ourselves. It's true because they've been watching the whole time. You gotta watch that movie about the Watchers with that lady after this. Don't just leave me here hanging because you need to hear these things finish, yeah? But about that Watchers, the movie, Dakota Fanning's in it. It's a scary movie, but it's not that scary. It's not. But it was so good. And it talks about, again, an ancient war and a separation between our peoples. Mm-hmm. So let's see. Right. Let's see. Oh, it's actually a really nice song. It was endearing to hear. I know they are my spiritual family and they care about me. They have been with me my whole life, even though they've had to show me tough love at times. This is not about romance. I needed tough guardians. Or like fluffy feelings, or like, field and daisies. That's what I meant by romance, not exactly romantic relationships. Because it was never about that with this being, ever. Nothing sexual or romantic like that. Right. I needed tough guardians. Everything you do, everything you think and feel, they see you, they hear you, and they know everything about you. Yeah. The unseen realm is going on around us all the time. You don't need to be worried about it. You've lived your life thus far without even realizing this was happening. But it is. One day you will be there as well and you'll know what it's like. Okay? They know you better than you know yourself. They see all the things you think no one sees and hears, just like Source God hears and sees us. They have been watching me and they have been with me my entire life. I knew this. I could feel them since I was very young. And I always thought of them like two guardians. Yeah. But I didn't know. I didn't know that there were other people. And when I was explained this, I'm like, no way. I was like, I knew this, but I explained it like this. These people were amazed. And they never met anybody who's ever seen a Jinn. Ever. One lady was like, the whole fucking time. Yeah. We're going to get there. Let me see. So then I just wrote down the song. Yeah. And now I know what that light orb was. My friend in the balcony that night, too. And that was when I summoned, did a CE5. Yeah, yeah. No, I prayed, and a light being showed up. That was a person. That's not a craft. I'm skipping ahead, but that's why they're called the Shining Ones. I okay. Am I good? All right. Let me see now. Right. So that's why they're called the Watchers. Yeah. Oh, let me grab that book. I bought this book and it's so dry. I wanted to see what they were teaching in university courses about UFOs and aliens. And this is when I was working. This book was like $45, by the way. Um, I ordered it from the University of Kansas. Just hold on one second. Okay, I found them. And I actually found ones that I forgot that I had. So look, I saw this book online and I knew intuitively I had to get it. And look, these are like ancient people symbols. It looks kind of like indigenous Egyptian, oh my goodness, there's an eye and all of that. Yeah, yeah. Really symbolic stuff. Like I said, it almost looks aboriginal. Anyway, it's called um, They Know Us Better Than We Know Ourselves: The History and Politics of Alien Abduction. Maybe these books are going to be more relevant to me now. It is by Bridget Brown. Brown? Brown? Um, cool. It has a little picture here from Space Explorer Winter 2000. Search project aspects of close encounters space. Look at this. Oh, cool, huh? Never really looked at it. It's because it seemed so dry at the time for me. This was years ago. But I'm going to look into this one. Suspected inner Earth entrances, possible vortex. Oh, sighting frequency map from the what? The Matrix, but it doesn't mean a movie. Wait, wait. According to abductee Cynthia Crowell, also in The Matrix 2, the movie. Such a treaty was not difficult in the United States, for the people had signed the power to make such treaties on their behalf to a small group of elected officials. As she understands it, the aliens would share technology with the Earthlings in exchange. All they requested was the right to collect biological samples. The Granada Treaty. Oh, also, some of the Fey races were a dying race, and they needed our help to survive. I found that connection. And in exchange, all they request is biological blah 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 blah, and to live in peace. Oh, conduct experiments and live in peace. Our technocrats found this offer to be irresistible, a small price to pay for advanced technology. In Crowell's account, as in those of Mario and others, the powers that be blur into one another and are understood to be interconnected and concluding against regular citizens. Dang. But look, there's a map. And I was just talking about ley lines and portals. I had no idea this was in there. Some of the hottest spots on this fantastic dystopian map of the United States include Groom Lake, Area 51, near Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada, and Hangar 19 in Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, where alien technology and bodies are believed to be stored. What is this matrix they're talking about? One anonymous matrix historian. I must have to read from the beginning to figure out what this is. I don't think they're talking about the movie. I don't think so. I thought maybe that was an actress. Anyway. Oh, yeah. A meeting held between elements of the US government and the species known as the Greys. But as I said, the Greys, remember Phil Schneider was digging a tunnel underground and then he basically fell into their home? Underground? Gnomes live underground. That's earth elementals. I mean, of course they'd be in physical form in their home. I don't really know how it works. They said the Jinn live underground in that explanation. But anyway, yeah, so I didn't expect that, but there we go. It's already half an hour. And this one is called UFOs and Abductions Challenging the Borders of Knowledge. This one again, was a bit dry for me at the time, but maybe I will have a look at it at another time. But yes, this one is by David M. Jacobs. And then I also forgot I had this one. It's called The Heart's Code. Tapping. Did I show you this? This is by Paul Pearsall, PhD. Tapping into the wisdom and power of our heart energy, the Heart's Code. The new findings about cellular memories and their role in mind body spirit connection. I totally forgot I had this book. Yeah. Had no idea at the time when I got it at the secondhand bookshop as to why I needed it. But I did. And look at that, mind, body, and spirit all these times later. All right. So, in order for me to show you how I figured all this out about the shining ones, okay, we're going to start a new video. I need to be able to show you an example of a UFO sighting that drops orbs, right? Honestly, if we think about it, because I know I'm always using the same source, right? But it's how I learned it and understood it best. Because when I was explained this about the Jinn, with even the people online and in person, oh my goodness, I stuttered so hard. They said the Jinn are beings of smokeless fire. Well, what smokeless fire but energy? And what are we seeing? These glowing red or blue orbs or white orbs, different colors sometimes coming from the UFO. But what if those are the actual occupants? And they're like, okay, guys, let's go. Whee! And now they're flying around in their energetic form. Maybe that's when they leave the craft and they go down and they do that to the crop circle. It's not a machine, it's them making art, literal art. And I mean, they may not necessarily have to be earth elementals, but they very well could be to manipulate the cornfield, whatever it's wheat field or whatever it is. Because sometimes these things are interwoven, like braided. Even at a genetic level, it's insane. But that would be interdimensional interference. Like these beings can like reach into our space. Like remember the Dimensional Thief video? If you didn't watch that, it's called Dimensional Thief or something. I will link it at the end of this if you haven't seen it. But there's a video I watched with this girl that explains that these beings in the unseen realm, or the fourth dimension, which is mathematically what we're talking about. This is like to the side of us. This is why they say they walk beside us. But the fourth dimension is on the side. This is why you have these supernormal, paranormal experiences like, whoa, what was that? Or you see a ghost out of the corner of your eye. This is why. Because it is happening on this side, this dimensional side. But it also has an energetic spiritual thing, right? Yeah, so this is why. Not totally an expert, but I'm going to do my best at all of this, right? With how much I understand it myself. I will articulate this to you. But yeah, they can reach into our space, take something out of a safe that is locked, and we would have no idea how, it disappeared, and they can also put it back. Yeah. So if you watch that, it explains in this video how this happens and how it works. I thought it was so cool. Tibby's or something her name is. She's a young lady with long blonde hair like me. She wears it in a braid. Yeah. And she wrote a book also on all of this. her understandings, experiences, and all of that. Yeah, I can't justify buying more books and just letting them sit on the shelf. So as you can see, I have tons and I really like to buy more, but I gotta stop it. Anyway, so that's what we're gonna do. I would like to at least show you an example of these things, so you can see them. Also, there is a story that I remember, um, from Skinwalker Ranch. And if you remember the earlier stories, the family on the property had some dogs. There was chains when the second family moved in, I believe. I won't be able to get all of it in order, but I do directly recall there was some dogs and they had gotten free. And they were always barking at the woods. Then there was these blue orbs and they chased them off into the woods. Well, no more dogs. Yeah. Of course, they would see this as a direct threat, you know? Yeah. And that property, there, I think that going back a long time, there was some type of serious offenses and it just kept getting worse. You know what I mean? Like how they say we dug into the ground. Well, it probably pissed off the gnomes. I know it sounds nuts, you guys, but this is what we've been dealing with, this spiritual worlds rather. Um, and on some places, like on places like that location, there are many different openings, portals, and all kinds of stuff, just like in these national parks. Yeah. So, and whatever experimentation's been going on there, well, they're letting things in. But the reason why I told you about the dogs is because again, the Muslims are like, we can't have dogs because they chase out the angels or whatever. I've learned this is not accurate. I had a dog. It's not accurate. Dogs actually protect you from a lot of these supernatural entities. You know, beings of unconditional love are not going to be worried about dogs. Yeah, but that's just my personal. I don't want to fight about it. My personal experience and opinion. But yeah, it says this about like Bogarts and Bogart or something. No, not the joint hogger. Um, it happens to be a malicious house spirit. It once was good, sometimes they go bad, not always, but they will harm your animals. Yeah. And we see a lot of this with paranormal stuff and hauntings, that people's animals die or get harmed. Well, this is why. Again, we're dealing with entities of the spiritual, not supernatural, dimensional realms. Yeah. And there's different kinds and in different states of being. Some are good, some are not good. Even they say with the jinn that some have accepted the Most High and some have not, that they're not all demonic, that they have families like us, that they eat like we do, and they make love like we do. And that's why when I explained, even online with my experience over being sexually assaulted by one of those beings in my lucid dream, yeah, it happened. They told me you got to stop sleeping naked. And now when well, I always prayed before bed, always, but I pray over my clothing, almost like a protective garb. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I was still, every now and then, like it was really hot over the past couple days. I definitely didn't wear anything to bed. But I'm really in a confident, good place now, like energetically, where I wouldn't have to worry about that anyway. But because I was struggling so hard at the time with many different things, and also wondering if I had a demon cursed on me, or like for a little while there, I actually thought that evil Eve had cursed me with a demon. Seriously, because of course it came to life so to speak, even as I explained in previous videos, as an egregore. Um, it is a manifestation of many thoughts and feelings. It's a psychic entity. Um, and it actually reminded me very much of this movie that I came across in my research on fairies these past few weeks. And it's called Fairies. It's from 1981. It's under half an hour and it is ever excellent. I do remember these books that my friend Caroline had, and I'm pretty sure it was by the same artist. Yeah. And it's these beautiful, I will try to find, I just can't remember. It will tell me because it's based off the artist from Bababa. And I know that's the same one from those books she had. And the illustrations of those fairies are just breathtakingly beautiful. Even like the creepier looking ones are so beautiful. And I mean, that's what I thought about the Asura when I saw it. You know, how beautiful it was, the color of it, the beautiful, deep, dark sapphire bluish green it was. It's so hard to describe its color. But again, a little shiny, and it had manifested into a form rather than being in an energy, right? Yeah. They're shapeshifters. I think they'll take on a form that will please you. And it's not always for nefarious purposes. Not always. Again, I had such a problem with people like me, yeah? I had such a bad experience in life. And so I needed something different. Yeah. Oh, with the fairies movie, the fairy king enchants his shadow to come to life. And it actually takes on a new life and tries to like take over fairyland. Yeah, that's what the movie's about. Um, I found several copies of it with many people posting it, so I thought maybe I would post it as a little feature on my channel as well, so you can watch it and enjoy it too. But it has a lot of really good information in there. Yeah. And this series is actually going to have us talk about Harry Potter and the lady who made it, who many people often assume is a Satanist. And I discovered something very interesting that she was very much inspired by the Kabbalah. Yeah. And there is so many things that are actually somewhat helpfully true. Now, we're not talking about Wingardium Leviosa. We're not talking about that. But what they actually said about the Bogart. Remember Professor Lupin? Neville is afraid, or who was afraid of Professor Snape? And then he's like, picture it in your grandmother's clothes. Do you remember that? I'll try to post the maybe I'll be able to add the clip. I don't know if it'll be copyrighted or not. And like not let the video post. Like I don't care if it's not monetizable. I don't give a crap about that. But we'll have to see if I can do that and show you because it's really good. And it's a shapeshifter and it turns into what you fear the most, and that's true. Like I said, when I started to think that this was evil, like I had some type of demon, blah 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 blah, the more darker and negative that I thought about it, the more it manifested into my reality. Yeah. Yeah. So it's unfortunate because some of the lessons you have to learn the hard way because you don't know what you're dealing with. And I suppose very much so that um, I am very glad that I do. Now, the last thing I want to say is that I got to find a movie from when I was a little kid, and it really scared me, man. Gremlins scared the shit out of me, by the way. Oh my gosh. I was so afraid of gremlins. But also, there was a movie about a little goblin like a tiny, and this would be, I don't know what it was, it a leprechaun? I don't know. But I remember it was small and it would travel through the vents and stuff in the night. And it was the reason why it was so scary for me is because the cat was hunting it. It's mostly based upon the cat and this entity, little being, fighting. And the cat ends up getting like a little spear in it because it throws spears at it and stuff. It's a horror film. But you know what? I know this might be a bit much for people. Probably most of the things, if you've never been into any of these things at all, what I've said today is probably a bit much. But there was a movie that reminded me of Soul School, like the afterlife and things like that, a lot, and I really loved it. It's called J- oh my goodness, I forgot the name. Something Your Life. Oh my goodness. It's about a life review. This guy dies, and he has this incredible life review, and it even shows about how people have different jobs in the afterlife, like in the spiritual hierarchy, and that dimensionally. What was it called? I can't believe I forget. Defending Your Life from 1991. There, I remembered. And it was such a good film. But in the trailer of that film, it even says Hollywood's been trying to tell you the truth about the afterlife for a very long time. And I truly do believe that even that was a good representation of how it is similar like that. I can't say it's exactly like that, but because I haven't been there, but it's very good. And I always recommend that movie, but I can't help but wonder, especially after, and I mean, maybe this is what the new UFO people are doing. In a way, like without Claudio Nocelli's map, I don't know where I would be today with everything, you know? And maybe that's the purpose of creation because looking into Harry Potter again and watching it, okay, it was the funniest thing because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a wizard. And sort of. And you even hear, if you hear it, they even have like a hierarchy where like the rich elite bloodline magicians, like the Malfoys, are much more whoop de doo um, wizards than the others, yeah? And you realize that Hogwarts, even the platform 9 3/4, is an in between place. In between 9 and 10. I explained what interdimensional means in that video with that special message that I wrote in the description. It's in between. Spaces in between spaces. That's what that is. Yeah. So it's even connected to Harry freaking Potter. So yeah, the Bogart, it shapeshifts and turns into what you fear the most, and you can really truly defeat it by looking at it as something like you were being ridiculous because there's nothing to fear. Laughing and stuff like that, yeah, it reflects very much on how I dealt with the negative entities that were affecting me in my life in my old apartment. There was a lot of activity going on in that building. A lot. Not only from like traumatic suffering and events that happened in that building, but maybe just where it was sitting, you know? I remember on the hill in the back of my old building when they started to dig and they're making new apartment buildings. They pulled up the biggest quartz. Like, it was a huge quartz. Like, they literally had to pull it out of the ground with a crane, and then they actually put it back in. But I think because it was so large that it would have like displaced like the ground or whatever. I don't think it was anything truly nefarious, but it was a huge piece of quartz. And so, like I was saying, ley lines, the energy grid, what the ground is, and this is why where I live is a UFO hotspot, like widely known, and it's a meteor crater. It's a crater town. Yeah. Uh, so, and there's so many mineral deposits, but I have no idea today why I ever thought crystals like quartz, which comes out of the ground here in the earth, would connect me with aliens, say from another galaxy. It does makes no sense now. But what does make sense is that it would connect you with spiritual beings like this, dimensional beings. And this is why in my book here, I had a lucid dream where I was actually spirit body traveling in my bedroom, and I followed this being that had shapeshifted. It was a bear, and then when it walked out of my room, it turned into a entity like this, and it was holding on to Salem, but it wasn't hurting him. It was just looking at him. It didn't have a sinister feeling, very neutral, if anything. And it was just very curious. And then after it did this, because I had said, I just went, oh, no, 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 no. You put my Salem down. I said, that's what I wrote here. You put my Salem down. And he did. Right away, he did. He put it down. And then he turned around and he started looking at all my crystals and stuff. Just like up there. He was looking at all my stuff. And then after that, I knew everything was fine. He was checking shit out. And I woke up. Yeah. But I've had so many of these experiences. I really didn't know what was going on because there was a lot of confusion because of people saying, aliens and outer space travel and secret space programs. And now we know why Area 51 is called Dreamland. Get it? Yeah, and I've covered that before. So I did not intend at all for this, but this is like an entire episode. But yeah, we will touch on the Ancient Aliens series, or no, not the Ancient Aliens series. My Ancient Civilizations series, the Antediluvian one and Ancient Civilizations series. That, if you have not watched yet, I recommend because I also track where these civilizations and terms and how the face changes even with human beings. So somebody from like 100,000 years ago is not going to look like human beings today. So they might look a little alien. They look a lot like us, but they look a little different, you see? And so there is that. So there is ancient humans, and I'm going to mention before we go that when you're in certain timelines, some of them run slower and some of them run faster. In my understanding, higher timelines, the time runs faster. With Travis Walton, when he was taken for them to help him, um, he thought he was only gone an hour and a half, but he was gone 5 days. So that's very quick. There's other people who have stated that they can be gone for quite a bit of time and have only an hour and a half pass and no one knew they were missing. There's that too. So for maybe lower dimensions, it goes slower. Here, anyway. So like this is how these beings um, would be considered to be time travelers, even if they were from 100,000 years ago. If they discovered interdimensional travel and went into a higher timeline, they would have zoomed right by us and saw how we progressed anyway. Yeah. To their point in time, right? So in the lower dimensions, what it would be is that it's moving slower and we're moving faster in the third dimension. So really, if you were looking what's happening in the third dimension from a lower dimension, you're technically back in time, and you can thus do things or influence so that that future that you saw happening wouldn't actually occur, possibly. Into the world of time travel. Woo, 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 woo. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. It did take me a little bit to restart again. because I stepped in, catch it. Whoa, stepped in, catch it. Just a little bit. Marvin took a poo and had a poop stuck on her butt fur, and then decided to wipe her butt on the carpet over there, and I didn't see it, and I stepped right in it. So I had to wash my foot in the sink. And that reminds me, I have another story where it was the first time I ever met a Muslim girl in my high school, and I opened the bathroom door, and there she was with her foot in the sink. But I'm going to tell you that story when we come right back. I will talk about, and this is very important. It is. I've wanted to share it on my channel for a while, and how I came to these understandings, especially how I got to where I am today with it all. And that was a huge part of my journey. It helped me understand things a lot more, where it took away not all, but a lot of my fears. So, we'll be right back. Thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed this. I think I might do it. So that will be like the 10-minute one. I think I went for about 10 minutes. That might be like a little bit of a preview. This is going to be technically episode 1, moving on to episode 2. I really didn't plan to do the entire series today, but that may happen. So, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all your support. If you could press like and make a comment, even an emoji to say thank you if you don't know what to say, or, you know, it just really helps my content on the algorithm, because it's really not getting much support at all from YouTube. So, yeah, I will be right back. I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you next time. Because for you, it'll be next time. For me, I'll be right back. But for you, it'll be next time. Take care. Thanks again for being here with me. Bye! Fairyland!